I am wearing a former finished object that I've talked about before. My dude, if you're going to bop that again, you're going to get knocked out and kicked out of the room. Don't bop, don't leave the camera alone. No, camera alone. Hey, you want me to kick you out? Hey, no. Just stop. Are you done? You can sit down, but you cannot bother the camera. No. Nope. Okay. Cats, man. Hi there. Welcome to the Hear Her Hand Knitting and Crafting podcast. My name is Jennifer, and I am a knitter, crocheter, sewist, and quilter located in Baltimore, Maryland with my partner and 2 black cats and 2 miniature schnauzers. And here I am a multi-craftual creative. So if you're a multi-craftual like me, maybe you would enjoy hanging out and talking about all the things I have on my needles, on my machine, and on my mess. So today I have 2 finished objects for you, and a formerly finished object that I'm wearing. I also have a whole pile of whips, a couple of surprises, a couple of soon to be abandoned projects, a couple of socks, and a whole lot of things on my needles. And I suddenly got the casting bug, I guess. So let's start off with what I'm wearing because I completely spaced. So this, I did mention something I knit before, but I'm wearing the Anacortes pullover by Nishi Frost Knits, and I have second size, and I knit it in Knit Picks Cotton in the color Surf, which is a hair brighter than I usually would wear in soft summer, but I find it just really lovely summery pullover. I find it really nice to pull on after I just ran laps in the morning. It's just the right weight, and it's sort of easy wearing. I found it was such a fun knit. I really enjoy this texture so much that I am using it in like multiple other projects, including the socks. But so this is the Anacortes, and I highly recommend that if you haven't got the pattern, you go check out Nishi Frost and her Instagram and her designer profile and pick this up because it is the ideal summer sweatshirt style knit, and it's just really cozy. If I were you, I might knit a hair bigger. I think I might have rather knit the size 3. I feel I prefer like a really oversized cozy. Reminds me of when I was a lifeguard and I used to wear like gigantic hoodies in the evenings after work. But also if you're more like a professional type person and you want your clothes to be more fitted, I would definitely look at the sizing. Like the sizing is to bust measurements. And so that's why I knit second size because I am generally a 34-inch bust. And it is a cozy, comfy, lovely sweater. Highly recommend. So first, we start with our 2 finished objects. So today, my first finished object is the Perry Polo, which if you follow me on Instagram, you will know that I did a little week-long, like 1 week, 1 zip knit along with some friends from Loving Stitches, and on my knit along chose to focus on my Perry Polo, which is a polo shirt that I started working on for my partner as a test knit last May. And when I cast this on, I intended to cast it on to help with the test knit, obviously, and I had to drop out at the last minute because I ended up sick in the hospital again. So instead, after a while, it kind of got put on the back burner, and I didn't work on it at all over the summer, or over the winter, and so I decided to pick it back up when I came back from my trip and finish it. So this is the Perry Polo by Engles. It is knit in yarn art jeans, which is a cotton acrylic blend, which also gives you good ideas about when I started, because this was one of the earlier projects, so more of a affordable yarn. And I inadvertently turned it into an avocado pillow instead, because it's in black, summer green, and brown. So my Perry pillow, I knit the size large, but because my partner is 6'6", I had to knit a lot more on the body, and so that took me a while. And also, I really struggled with the polo collar, so after several tries, I went and looked at the polo collar from the Kroy Lunan polo, and I took the process for how to knit that, and I used it on this polo collar. So I think it turned out really nice. It fits my partner really well. Our really only issue is the little warmth. So it's definitely not fully a summer knit. He can't wear it very easily now in 90-degree summer in Baltimore. But since he is a year-round t-shirt wearer, I feel like he will get use out of it more in the fall and winter. That is my first finished object, and I'm counting all the time it was in hibernation, that time on the needle. So that was on my needles from May 27th to May 28th of 2024 to July 20th of 2025, which was 418 days total. But it is finished. So I'm very proud that I finished that. It was my first mosaic knitting ever, and I think it turned out really nice. And my second finished object is a pair of socks, which I mentioned before. I talked about these in my last podcast. I knit these. These are the Hibernal socks by Symphony. So I knit these two at a time, and I knit them toe up in Patons North American sock, which I got at a last final trip to Joann's. And so if you look at the heel on these, this is the smallest sock blocker I could find. So these are they don't quite fit the sock blocker, but also I started the pattern again, really low on the heel, as opposed to, this was a short row heel, as opposed to continuing in the stockinette. But it's still really comfortable like that, and I think they look really cute. And they were really fun to knit. And actually, the only thing is I think that might be because of the cable, but this is a very woolly yarn, and they are exactly my foot size, and they're a little tight, but it's more the fact that they're itchy. So I have not worn these very much because they're kind of itchy, but they're really cute, and I'm definitely going to be knitting this pattern again on a less itchy yarn. So that is one project done. Alright, so now we can go on to this giant pile next to me. So your girl has, I think I got a bit of cast iron when I came back from my trip, and I picked up a project that I was trying to finish. So one of my goals this summer is to like pick up and finish a lot of semi-abandoned WIP. The first one I did pick up and work on, and definitely not done, but I'm going to finish the fall and then I will call it done. But this is the Tumbling block blanket pattern by Cascade Design, Cascade Yarn Design. So this blanket pattern is knit in Lion brand. Feels like Butta in the color lemon, which is like a sunny, bright yellow color. And this one, I cast this on last year when I finished a different blanket project for friends. When I finished actually knitting this one, because I thought it would be really pretty and solid. And when I cast this on, my youngest dog was a puppy, and he had just come back from the trainer, and so I had a lot of like difficulty focusing on it because I spent a lot of time training and walking and working with him, and so this did get abandoned halfway through last year, and so I have picked it up, and I have a friend who has a 9-month-old, and I'm planning on finishing this in what yarn I have left and gifting this to them. But this I did not, I put the project in my project notes in Ravelry, but I did not put the date, so I have no idea how long this has been on the needle. At least a year at a minimum. So that is my tumbling box blanket by Cascade Yarn. Then next I have two patterns by Tori for the summer shirt, summer tee shirt, long knitting by knit along by Kitty Natty. So I joined Love and Stitches at the beginning of the summer when they reopened up the membership, and I started knitting this shirt as part of their summer knit along. So this is the Brooklyn Raglan Lite. I think this is the front. So I'm knitting the Brooklyn Raglan Lite by Tori in Republic of Yarnia, Sololos Symphony in a size 1. Cast this on as part of the summer tea knit along on May 27th. And this has been on my needles for a total of 59 days. So this is kind of on the back burner now because I had a bit of castanitis, but it's still working up really beautifully, and I absolutely will finish it because it's fun. But I'm going to do some more interest under the arms. I think I'm going to continue this pattern that's on the sleeves in like the band under the arm just to give me some interest because I'm finding the constant stockinette to be a little boring. So here's my yarn. And I think this is just so fun. It's so pretty. It's sparkly. And then in addition to that, I also cast on, while I was out of town, the Queen's Tank or the Queen's Cami by Tori for my friend in this Lana Grossa is it hand dyed Merino in this is a pink, mostly pink with some purple and some orange. So this Queen's Cami I am using as part of Pink Along by Knit Charm City Unicorns, who are local to me. So this is my upstairs. I am just sort of relaxing and winding down for the night knitting. Very simple sock knot. And then this is the yarn. I think this is really pretty. It's working out to be a very fun stripy pink. And that one has been on my needles for about 55 days because I started knitting it right after the other key. So once I finished my other socks, I immediately capped on another pair of socks because I didn't want to lose my sock knitting mojo. So I started immediately knitting the May Colorwork Cuff Club sock by Symphony, mostly because the May sock has a little bit of a texture pattern to it as well, and I'm not entirely certain if I'll use the Colorwork, but I'm finding the texture to be really fun. So these are my summery socks, in sort of a stripy toe up two at a time style. So also my yarn this is a bit of leftover from a shawl I knit, and then the toe that I faded in is a mini skein that I got as part of an exchange. So these are really fun. It's really interesting. So I watched somebody's video about knitting faded socks, and she talks about finding a yarn that has at least two same colors in it, and I didn't do that intentionally, but this yarn has a very this brown is in both yarns, and also there's a very deep blue in both as well, and it's very subtle. So you almost can't. I mean, you can tell when you look much closer, but initially it kind of looks like the two yarns are one. So it's really fun knit. Then when I had these, because I didn't want to mess up my sock knitting mojo, but also this week is sock week, so as soon as sock week began, I put these aside and I tacked on another pair of socks. And so I have been so my other socks that I cast on were in a sock that from So Happy Jane that is part of the summer sock knit along by Knitty Natty. And the So Happy Jane yarn is called is Joyful Fingering in the color Huckleberry Sunday. And I have this cute little yarn wheel. So he's fun. So what I did with these was I am doing a waffle net to approximate a ice cream style sock. These are very much like my own invention. I used my own 30 no 56 stitch cast on width, and then I just started doing like a broken rib for the patterning. So I have two socks. I will not finish these by the end of sock week. I haven't gotten very far, but I will work on these first and then I'll finish the other ones. So maybe I'll finish these by the end of August if I'm lucky. But yeah, those are my summer Sunday socks. And on top of that, I have my special vacation knit that I cast on when I was in Sacramento. So this right here is my Harlow Flip, which is a hat pattern by Andrea and Mowry, and I picked this up, yarn up, at Russell Silk Skein in downtown, Old Town, Sacramento. So I picked up the Spin Cycle Dreamscape in the color Good Omen, which this is very much my color. This was my shirt. I'm very excited for that, and I picked up I wanted a softer yarn than the Good Omens for my contrast color. So this is a worsted by Plymouth Yarn in the color Dusty Violet. So I think those are turning out really pretty together. But I have not done any work on this since I returned from Sacramento, as I had suddenly cast on a bunch of other things and got sort of deep in the weeds. But this is a plan. I will finish this at some point. At least by when I need it this winter. And that is a special little yarn and pattern acquisition that I got and to remember my first summer trip in a long time. So the other thing is, after all of that, which is a lot, like I've been getting up the storm, I guess, I applied for 2 test knits, assuming that I wouldn't get them because I never seem to get these test knits that I want when I want them. And I got both. So note to self, don't apply to multiple test knits at the same time. It's a terrible idea. However, fortunately, one of these is a baby test knit, and one of these has a very good long testing period. So I do think I'll be fine. I'm kind of going back and forth between the two. One is very, very complicated, and I find that I actually knit like OBP-ish at a time before my brain goes haywire and I start messing up. So I have just sort of begun, basically. It doesn't look like much, but we'll talk about those. So I have 2 test knits. The first one I got a test knit for the Kroy, and that is the Krail cardigan. And I am knitting the Krail cardigan in a size 1. So this cardigan is a honeycomb and keybowl cardigan, very woolly, very fall wintry. And I am knitting this in Patons classic wool worsted in the color Seafoam, which you've seen this before. I knit a lace cardigan in this before, and it ended up just not quite being the fit I wanted. So I rubbed the whole thing, washed it, and cleaned it up, and it's in really good shape for yarn that's already been knit. So this is the beginning of my cardigan. Again, I'm knitting the size 1. I will say these honeycomb cables, are complicated for someone who is still, I consider myself an advanced beginner. It took me, first of all, this is the first time I've ever knit like strictly from what's it called? Chart. There we go. So I've never knit strictly from a chart before. So first I had to do, for my swatch, I had to write the chart out so that I understood what I was looking at, so why I wrote the chart out. This is my swatch. The bottom isn't a smaller needle. The bottom is like a half size up from the original needle size, and the top is a full size up. And I ended up having to do the top to get gauge. But once I got gauge, it looks very nice. So this is my swatch. And these are the honeycombs, and they are really lovely once they're blocked, but this is not blocked. So I've got my honeycomb cables, and I am just started on the part of the cardigan where you're doing. I don't believe it's the button band. I believe it's just like there's going to be a cable on either side of the button band in addition to all the honeycombs. So I just started working the cable as well, which looks really nice. It's very well thought out, I think. I love how Kroy has such a wide range of sizes when she makes her pattern, and she also has like so many interesting components to each pattern. So like this one is just, it has so many interesting things. It has the cable, it has the honeycomb, it has the Raglan sheeping, which is all, it's really beautiful, and it's working up very nicely. I do think the is not a very autumny color, but I am a soft summer, so this is a very good color for me. And I know that I will love this as a nice fall wintry jackety cardigan when it's done. And it's been a fun knit, but I am very slow. So that is my Kroy cardigan. I am knitting that for the Kroy in a size 1, and the colors you found in my needles are, I am knitting these on a 5mm needle. And then the other test knit I got, so I applied to both at the same time, which I will try to learn to do better next time, but it's my spot. So the other one I got was the Finest Kinder test knit for Alicia Plummer, which is a child sweater in this really fun texture. So I am in the bottom up sweater, and I am in the size 2. So freaking so adorable. Oh my goodness. Well, I am knitting this acrylic because the majority of my friends who have small children are not fiber artists. So I feel like an acrylic is good because this is actually the first yarn from the first cardigan I ever knit for myself, and I love this. I wear it all the time. I throw it in the wash and I hang it dry, but I feel like it would be fine. Want to dry it in the dryer. It might get a little bit pilly. I do think my cardigan has a little bit of pilling like under the arms, but I do believe that is a fairly typical sweater thing. So I am knitting this super cute sweater in Lion brand Retweed, and this is the color Dutch Blue. So, and it's adorable, and like the texture pattern is just so much fun, and I love the little bitty rolled hem at the bottom. And I cannot wait to knit one of these for, every child I know, probably. But this is the first one, so this is size 2. I do believe I am testing the 6. I'm not sure. This is the size 2, so I'm knitting the size 2 in Lion brand, and it's, I will say one thing. After knitting with Wolf and like other, this is cotton linen, after knitting with lots of other types of yarns, I will say it's a smidge sticky feeling, but it's still a really good, hard-wearing yarn, and I think it will be perfect for a small child. And this is my swatch, which blocked out lovely. Yeah, I cannot wait to finish that. I do think that will be a fairly quick knit. And so far so good, honestly. I've never knit anything by Alicia Plummer, and I have several of her patterns. I just haven't gotten around to them, and I am quite impressed. That sweater it's so much fun. It's working up so nicely, and it makes it just incredibly logical. It's very much the way I prefer to knit, even if it is a bottom up. Like normally I would not want to knit a bottom up sweater, but I do find that this is going to explain really well, and I am having no problems at all knitting it. So, those are all my sweaters for this go. But I do have some acquisitions, which also are from my trip. I never got around to sharing them last time because I got interrupted at a But, right, we'll go to acquisition. Yucky. So now we've got two, well, I'll include this. So we'll do three little bitty, whoopsie. Ah, yeah, so we'll do three little bitty acquisition-y things here. So for acquisitions, first of all, I have my little narwhal, which I showed you. So we're going to do a better picture of him because he's so freaking cute. So the narwhal baby is from the Sock Week. Supporter, sponsor, and I believe it's from the Littlest Tremco. He is so cute, and oh my goodness, he has like a little chocolate for his mouth. It's adorable. I highly recommend you go check out the Littlest Tremco. Her stuff is really cute. Very motivating. And then I got two little big sweater quantities. So while I was in Sacramento, I told you about how I went and met and found my friend's local yarn store, which is Skein in Old Town Sacramento. And we all know that Brooklyn Tweed is no longer making yarn, so Skein had Brooklyn Tweed on clearance sale, like 30% off. And so I got, the first one I got was Lost in their, is this fingering? Yep. So this woolen spun 2-ply fingering weight, which is 275 yards. This is the color Blanket Fort. And this is just a really pretty, dark purple. I got 5 skeins of Blanket Fort. And I do not remember. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a video next month about specific sweater weight quantities I have and what projects I have planned for them. But this has a project. I just can't remember it off the top of my head at the moment. Something by Andrea and Mowry, I believe. So this is Blanket Fort, and this is a fingering. This is in Loft. So the other yarn I got from Skein was also Brooklyn Tweed. This is Tones Lite in Nimbus Overtone, which is a fingering weight, 225 yards, also a woolen spun. So I got 6 skeins of this. and challenge Lite is this fingering weight. I believe I was going to use this for a sweater. Nope, I was going to use this for a sweater. That's all I remember, for a cardigan. But it is lovely. It's much softer. So the loft is a tiny bit itchy. But I like how the loft has like the tweedy bits in it, so it's very much pick and choose your spider, I guess. So these two yarns are my my sort of panic purchase because I was going to be going out of business and they never get the yarn again. So I have two sweater quantities, small sweater quantities, big sweater quantities, and I bought everything I talked about with my own money for myself as a kidder who basically is how I keep myself busy these days in these terrible times. So yeah, if you had a sweater quantity of Brooklyn tweed, what fingering weight sweater would you make? Give me some ideas because I have completely spaced at this point. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. And if you made it this far, I would love to hear about what you were knitting while you were watching. And better yet, if you want to, tag me on Instagram or on Blue Sky if you happen to be there, and share with me a picture of your project while you were watching. Well, I would love to see what you're working on, and let's see if you're currently in the midst of summer knitting still, or if you're like me and you're suddenly in the midst of hardcore fall. I don't know how I did that, but like, I think I'm just wishing for fall, honestly. Like, it's been so hot. It's like, it's 95 today, and it was like 75% humidity this morning at 6 when I went swimming. So, yeah, I think I'm ready for fall. Not ready for winter, just ready for fall. Like, slightly cooler weather, slightly less humidity. That's all I'm asking. So, yeah, I'd love to hear from you. And join me next time on Hear Her Hands and see what I knit or what I made. I definitely have some plans for selling as well. Yeah, talk to you later. Bye.